We, Merry Kiwi, challenge Dark Violet Cloud, the OVA Hell podcast, Kamen Rider
The Kiwis challenged the wrong person for this. The Anime Rectangle Challenge, name pending, is a little game created by the Merry Kiwi duo, where you have a grid of anime genres in a range of years. You have to fill out as much as possible with the anime you've seen. And, oh boy, this was rough. It made me realize that I tend to watch a lot of original anime and that I read a lot of manga, but overall, I think I should watch more anime and broaden my horizons. I am going to boost my numbers just a teeny bit to include manga.
It also must be an anime. If you want to do a manga version, that's fine, but this one is for anime.
I choose to not understand these signs.
Anyway, let's get this out of the way. I am woefully inexperienced with shojo and josei, and I am ashamed of myself for it. So, I've got the Cardcaptor Sakura manga for pre-2000s shojo romance, and Sailor Moon Crystal for 2010s shojo romance. I guess it could also count as action. And if I'm allowed currently airing anime, then I guess Jadagar, A Witch in Mongolia could count for 2020's historical josei. The magazine it's published in is considered both shoujo and josei. Its mature themes feel a bit more elevated to an older audience, so I'm counting it in josei. Yeah, wow, this is embarrassing. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn this challenge into my own thing.
With blackjack and hookers!
I'm gonna go through Mal and find anime that interests me that also fills these rectangles. But first, I suppose we'll go through the other charts. Shonen anime is strangely sparse, but I think that's because I've watched a lot of stuff from the same decade in the same genres. For 2000s action, we get to my first ever anime, Soul Eater. Or rather, the first anime I watched that I knew was anime. I grew up watching Speed Racer as a kid, and I didn't know that was anime, I just thought it was this cool racing show that my dad showed me. Anyway, I distinctly remember how I was first exposed to Soul Eater. I grew up with a gal named Bucky, who I'm still friends with to this day. She's really cool, she does cool fursuits that she sells, go check her out. Anyway, we would browse YouTube after school on the computers in her family's computer room, and we came across the Soul Eater AMV This Is Halloween. We thought it was the coolest thing. We must have been like 11 or 12 years old, and Soul Eater is the perfect anime for a try-hard, edgy preteen. It wasn't even that edgy. School kids turning into weapons, wearing badass outfits, kicking the asses of monsters and witches, all wrapped up in this Halloween aesthetic. It's great. I still need to finish the manga, but the anime is a ton of fun. Even if it was made during a time when anime just sort of made up the ending of an unfinished manga. My friend Momo says that Soul Eater's manga ending is better than the anime's ending. I'll get around to it at some point. I chose JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for 2010's action. Specifically, I'm going to choose Diamond is Unbreakable because that's my favorite JoJo part. Josuke is a total sweetheart, and I love the murder mystery juxtaposed with the slice of life aspect. DIU also has a lot of really fun stands. Araki was still playing around with what a stand exactly was in part 3, while in part 4, he branched out to some fun abilities. There's some really clever fights in there. 2010's shonen romance goes to The Ancient Magus Bride. Though Magus Bride could definitely fit action as well, the core of the story is Chisei's relationship with Elias. I love the story of these two outsiders finding kinship and love with one another. I've also collected up to volume 9 of the manga, save for volume 7, which I couldn't find. I got 6 through 9 at a used bookstore, but it was like 6, 8, and 9, they didn't have 7. And I also have the art book for season 2. It is a fantastic show, highly recommend it. Yeah, looking at this, most of the shonen I've seen are either anime originals or 2000s to 2010s action. I can't do doubles, so it makes my rectangles seem bare as a result. Finally, Seinen anime. At least according to what anime I remembered to log into my anime list, Seinen anime makes up the majority of anime I watch. And even then, it kind of doesn't feel like that much. Pre-2000s action goes to Berserk 1997. I adore cel-drawn animation, and although I prefer how thick Guts is in the Golden Age movie trilogy, 97 is drop-dead gorgeous and has an iconic soundtrack. The one downside to this is that it ends mid-Eclipse arc. I watched it with a friend who had never experienced Berserk before, and he got mad when the final episode ended. We watched the last of the Golden Age movies so that he could know how that arc ended. I don't have anything for 2000s action seinen unless I cheat and choose a manga. And I will. I stumbled across the 2004 bio-horror detective manga Manhole by Tetsuya Tsutsui one night while browsing for body horror manga. It's a 3-volume story about 2 detectives trying to uncover why a diseased man crawled out of a manhole in the middle of the street. The art is a lot of fun if you like grotesque imagery, and the story is very enjoyable. I really do love detective stories, and I need to read and watch more of them. Apparently, this manga ended up getting banned in Nagasaki Prefecture for being a, quote, harmful book, and this ban inspired Tsutsui to write Yugai Toshi, a manga about censorship in Japan. It seems interesting, and it's only 2 volumes, so I think I'll check it out at some point. 2010's action should come as no surprise to viewers of my channel. Made in Abyss needs no introduction. It is my favorite anime and one of my favorite stories of all time. Next year is the 10-year anniversary of the anime, and I plan on making a big recommendation video / retrospective on the series. 2020's action is a recent anime, Witch Hat Atelier. I watched the first season in a day, and I am in love with the world building, characters, art, everything in this anime. It's a must-watch. Thank you, Momo, for getting me into this series. Seinen romance has only 1 entry. For 2010s, I put in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, a guilty pleasure of mine. It's a comfort show. I love watching Kobayashi, Toru, and Kana go about their daily lives as an odd family and encountering their equally odd friends. Kobayashi and Toru's relationship blossoms in a really fun way. Historical Seinen also has only 1 entry, The Apothecary Diaries. This is another must-watch and another detective story. Mao Mao is such a fun protagonist, and I love following her along with her sleuthing. Future Seinen? Akira is a movie, would that count? It was made in 1988 and is set in 2019, and that's the future. I'm counting it. 2000's Future Seinen, don't do it. Don't do it, it doesn't count, because the manga was made after, based on a book and not a manga. Don't do it. I have become obsessed with Gankutsuo the Count of Monte Cristo, and I will not shut up about it, and I will make it everyone's problem. I will try to make a video on why I love it so much, but my god, I've been swamped with real-life responsibilities. For now, look at the shitposts I've been drawing. But yeah, I'm counting this one because I wanted an excuse to talk about it, and the manga is classified as a seinen. Go watch it. You know that novel from the freaking 1800s, that French book, whatever, they put it in space, in future space. The Count is blue, and he's like a space vampire, and he's insane. I love it. There's a mech fight. It's awesome. I was sobbing at the end of it. I am ashamed of these grids, by the way. I consider myself an anime fan in general, but you wouldn't really think so looking at these grids. I suppose I lean towards seinen at the most. If you count anime that doesn't fit into any of these categories, like, say, Keep Your Hands Off A's a Kitten, Cheese Sweet Home, and Heaven's Design Team, my seinen rectangle grows. Also, all 3 of those shows are great, go watch them. Otherwise, I really do need to broaden my horizons. I need to watch shojo anime and develop some emotions. I am taking over the anime rectangle challenge and twisting it into my own challenge. So, I went on Mal, sorted by shojo anime, and consulted my good friend Momo, who has a much wider pool of anime knowledge than I do. She actually looks into new anime and manga, while I'm a stubborn asshole who only watches the same few things. My challenge to myself is to try and fill up my unfilled shoujo slots with anime that looks interesting, and then obviously go and watch it. So here's what stood out to me and what I plan on watching. Pre-2000s shoujo action goes to Magic Knight Rayearth. I'm a big fan of Cardcaptor Sakura, and Rayearth is a magical girl story written by Clamp, the same team behind Sakura. I chose DN Angel for 2000's shoujo action, mostly because the intro song for that anime was used in SSS Warrior Cats' intro theme. It was this fan animation that tried to adapt the first Warrior Cats book. I think they only had like 3 episodes. It was like a team of teenagers. I was obsessed with Warrior Cats as a kid, and I thought this fan animation was the coolest thing. and at the very least, I want to see the opening song in context with the show that it's from. The 2010s anime, The Betrayal Knows My Name, has a cool poster and one of the tags says Supernatural, so that seems fun. It looks very melodramatic and corny. Finally, Red River is one of 5 shoujo action shows from this decade, and the Kiwis seem to be liking it. I'll go with that. Onto romance. I love the Cardcaptor Sakura manga, but I actually haven't seen the anime. That's an easy pick for pre-2000s romance. For 2000s romance, when Momo and I were watching Mal, she said that Vampire Knight is terrible. However, I am morbidly curious, and I like vampires, so screw it, it's only 12 episodes, why not? I have a video idea in mind where I watch as many vampire anime as I can and talk about them. Is anyone interested in that idea? Drop a comment if you want to see me talk about vampires for God knows how long. 2020's romance will go to plus-sized misadventures in love. Saw the trailer a while back and it looked super cute, so hey, I have an excuse to watch it instead of watching the same few things over and over while drawing. I'm excited for it. Shoujo historical, pre-2000s. I'll go with Rose of Versailles. According to Kentaro Miura, or at least Super Eyepatch Wolf's video on Berserk, it was an inspiration for Berserk. And a classic. I gotta go with it. Earl and Fairy seems like a neat one for 2000s, and same with Laughing Under the Clouds for 2010's historical. Finally, Requiem of the Rose King is my choice for 2020's historical. The Kiwis chose both Earl and Fairy and Rose King for this column, so I know I'm in good hands. Future shoujo. That is very difficult, partially because future isn't a tag on Mal that you can sort by. In general, I have beef with Mal, but we will get into that in a moment. For pre-2000s shoujo, I went with the OVA Twilight of the Dark Master. It looks like it has vampires and a discount Alucard. And cel-drawn animation is always a ton of fun, so let's see what it has to offer. Top Secret: The Revelation for 2000s is listed as a psychological detective shoujo anime. And like I said, detective stuff is fun, so I am very excited for this one. 2010's shoujo future. Okay, I have some beef with the categorization of future, but anyway. Children of the Whales is an anime that was recommended to me by someone who said it has a similar feeling to Made in Abyss, and it's tagged as sci-fi, so I will count it anyway. 2020's shoujo future, well, Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts is said to be, quote, located at the end of the world, so screw it, let's say that's future. Are there any 2020's future shoujo at all? I don't know. And that's it for all the shoujo anime I plan to watch to rectify my mistakes. I needed to branch out in my anime viewing, after all. I have a weird fear that I can't start something new unless I'm giving permission to do it. Why is that? No idea. Maybe I'm afraid that I'll watch the, quote, wrong thing and be judged for it. This is my way of bypassing that bizarre psychological block. The Merry Kiwis are giving me permission to watch a ton of shoujo anime, and I'm picking out what looks interesting. Alright, before we go, I have a few things I want to yap about. First off, I know my upload schedule sucks, but it's going to get even worse, I apologize. I am going into my senior year of college. Yes, it took far too long. I'm 26 freaking years old and I haven't gotten my bachelor's. And I'm an art major, so I do not know how much free time or energy I'll have to do YouTube. I'll focus on short videos for a while to ease the load. Second, I have a bit of an issue with the anime rectangle in the sense that these categories are kind of restrictive, oddly enough. Yeah, Kiwis, I am coming for you. Fight me. I think future as a category is really restrictive, partially because there's no future tag on Mal that you can search by, and partially because of the caveat that sci-fi isn't necessarily future and future isn't necessarily sci-fi. There's far more sci-fi anime that's set in either the past or present day than anime explicitly set in the future of when the show was produced. I would also say it's a pretty big missed opportunity to not include either slice of life or comedy as a category. Yeah, both are pretty broad, but it'd make me feel a bit better and I could actually slot some more anime into those categories, and I feel like people are more likely to have seen slice of life or comedy stuff. I suppose romance is kind of close if we follow the idea that romance is, quote, people happening, but I would argue that, quote, people falling in love happening is a better definition. That's just a thought. Now onto my big gripe. My anime list kinda sucks as a website and an app. I speak English, I watch anime in Japanese, but with English subtitles, sure, but I speak English and I read English words with my eyeballs, which is why I put on the subtitles. Mal, please, for the love of God, can I see the titles in English by default and not as a subtitle only when I click on the anime? Like, I can't remember the Japanese titles for everything, and if I'm trying to find something new, I don't know what these words are saying because I'm a stupid American that only speaks one language. There's supposedly a setting you can toggle that shows English titles by default, but it doesn't fucking work. What is this crosswalk beg button ass placebo? Second, you just can't have any advanced search options on the app. You need to either request the desktop website if you're on mobile or just get on your computer. But sometimes I want to look at like anime listings on my phone while I'm bored at work and try to find new things that I will put off and just watch the same things over and over. Sure, requesting the desktop site is fine, but if I'm browsing anime on my phone, I like seeing it as a big grid of the posters next to each other with the titles and not this big stretched out thing that I have to keep scrolling back and forth to read. Let me use the advanced search features that the full desktop site has and actually be able to read the whole thing without having to go back and forth. Anyway, thank you to Mary Kiwi for calling me out to publicly embarrass myself like this. I swear I watch a lot of anime. This was just pretty restrictive. I'll drop my Mal profile in the description if you guys want to see what I plan on watching. But if you're mean to me about it, I will cry. I'll try to give an update on my shojo redemption arc in about, let's say, 2 months. How's that? That'll give me enough time to watch some anime while also juggling schoolwork. I do have other videos in the works, but so that big ass Bailoff analysis video I've been teasing, that is on hold. I need to re-record everything with that, and it's way too big. I do not have the energy to work on it right now. I was working almost every day during the month of July. I'm tired. I need shorter videos to work on. So, once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.